Hey everyone, welcome back to Hunting Insight. Today, we are going to learn how to check if number is prime in JavaScript using not one but two different methods. Okay, so understanding how to identify a prime number is a valuable skill in program, whether you are preparing for the interview or improving your coding logic. Okay, so let me give you the quick recap about the prime number. Means what is the prime number? Okay, so a prime number is any whole number greater than 1 that has no divisor other than 1 and itself. Okay, so numbers like 2, 3, 5, 7 are prime, while 4, 6, and 9 are not. Okay, so let's solve our problem with a first method. Let me write method 1, and this method is iterative solution with a for loop. Iterative solution with for loop. Okay, so let's start by defining a function. Okay, so is prime, and we take one parameter. Okay, so we have write the function called is prime, and that will take one parameter, that is taking one parameter num. Okay, so num, which is number we want to check. Okay, num is the number that we wanted to check. Okay, so let's handle the edge cases here. Okay, so we first check if the number is less than or equal to 1. Okay, so if num is less than equal to 1. Okay, then equal to 1. So number 1 or less than aren't prime. Okay, so we will return false right away for these cases. So it will not execute the further code. So now let's set up a loop to check for a divisor. Okay, so we set up a for loop to go for 2 up to the square root of number. Okay, so let me write it. Okay, so for loop, right, let i equal to 2, then I less than equal to math dot, we take the square root, then num, and I plus plus. So this is because if num is divisor larger than its square root, okay, it will also have a smaller factor. Okay, so checking up to the square root save the times. If you use square root, it saves over times. Okay, so inside the loop we check if num is divided by I, and num is divided by I. Okay, num is divided by I, return false. Okay, so then num has a divisor other than 1 and itself. Okay, other than 1 and itself, so it's not a prime number, and we return false. Okay, so lastly, if we return true if there is no divisor are found. Okay, so return true. Okay, so if we complete the loop without finding any divisor, then num is a prime number, so we return true. So let me save it. Okay, so let me console it log is prime and let's pass 7 and see the output. Save is 2. So 7 is a prime number. Okay, so it will give true. So now let me console.log is prime. Let me pass 10. This must be false. So it is giving false. So our function is working. It's our logic working completely fine. Okay, now we will use the second method. Okay, so second method is a recursive solution. So second method is a recursive solution. Let me comment it out. Write the method to recursive solution. So we are not going to use the for loop here. Okay, so now let's try recursive solution. We will define a function called is prime recursive. Okay, so is prime recursive. Is prime recursive. Okay, so and that takes two parameters. Okay, num, the number we are checking, and divisor starting with 2. Okay, so num, then comma, then divisor which we assign 2. Okay, so starting with 2. So the function will call itself to handle the check. Okay, so just like before, if num is less than or equal to 1, we return false because 1 or less cannot be prime. So that I already explained earlier. Num is less than or equal to 1, we return false. Okay. Now, if divisor exceeds the square root of num, that means we have checked all possible divisor without finding any. So we return true, indicating num is prime. Okay, so if divisor is greater than math dot square root of num, then we return true. So we return true, indicating num is prime. Okay, so num is divisible by divisor, then num has a factor other than 1 and itself, so it's not prime. So let me write that if num is divisible by divisor is equal to 0, okay, then we return false. It means it's not a prime number, so it's not prime and we return false. Okay, so if now we need to have the recursive call. If no condition have met it, we make a recursive call. Okay, so recursive call, let me return is prime recursive, then pass the num and so divisor plus 1. Okay, so if no condition have been met, we make a recursive call, increasing the divisor by 1 to check the next potential factor. Okay, so that is how we can do work with the recursive. Let me test it. So you can see for first we got the true, and for second we got the false. So 7 is a prime number, 10 is not a prime number. Okay, so this is the code with recursive solution, and this is the code with iterative solution with for loop. Okay, so let's test. So we already tested it and we got the expected out. Okay, so our function is working fine. Both the functions are working fine. So, and yeah, that's it. We have explored two ways to check if a number is prime in JavaScript. First, using a for loop. First, using a for loop. First, using a for loop, and which is straightforward and efficient. Then we learn a recursive approach that useful for those who want a functional solution without loop. Okay, so this is without loop, the solution without loop. Okay, so if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, share, and let me know in the comment which approach you prefer. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Thank you.